Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to, I think, the first ever Flight Path live-ish, in that we are all in the same room, coming to you from the Tern Users Conference. I don't know if you can see this or not, but we are literally pulling into the port of Bermuda right now. We've had an absolutely incredible week. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. But Brad, Molly, how's it going? How are you liking the first Users Conference? Brad, let's start with you.
It's going great. First time on a cruise, even.
First time on a cruise for you?
On a cruise, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So, starting big, I've heard, with Virgin. It's going to be hard to try anything else after this. But the cruise has been great. Just getting to talk to users is always the best. And, finally put both a name and a face in, a real human versus just a person behind a screen. Feels, more real than ever.
And, first cruise, do you feel like you've actually gotten to experience it? Because it's been kind of a crazy schedule for us.
Okay, I think it's actually best for me because I think if I was actually only on a boat for 2 days with no agenda, I might go a little crazy. But it's been pre-planned for me, so I only have to worry about being on a cruise and deciding what to do for a few hours versus 48 hours.
I do feel like for some of us who maybe are used to running, I'll call it full schedules. The idea of 2 back-to-back sea days with I don't know, just hang out by the pool would be difficult. Molly, this is your first cruise, right?
I mean, I would hang out by the pool for 2 days.
You'd actually
not
enjoy that.
a part of this.
I would very much enjoy that. But,
right.
I'm also having fun doing this. No, it's actually been overwhelming how special the community of advisors is. I wake up and I'm pretty tired, and I get out and I start to see everybody and talk to them, and I'm verging on happy tears the whole time. People will tell me stories and I'm like, nope, you got to stop because I'm going to break into tears.
Literally right before this, I was telling Molly a story. She's like, absolutely, this is one of the sweetest stories I've ever heard, but you have to stop right now because we're about to film this podcast and I'm going to be crying on the podcast. So we're like, okay.
Yeah. No, it's been so wonderful. And I mean, just feeling also just so much gratitude for the people who made this possible, like Walter and Mal. We couldn't say enough. Our head of events, Mal, is just the attention to every single detail. I'm just walking around and I literally think I'm like a goldfish where every 10 seconds it's oh, Mal's amazing. Oh, Mal's amazing. And then I forget, oh, Mal's amazing. Because she's just how did she do this? I don't understand.
It's so for those of you that don't know, I think we've talked about this in the podcast, but Mallory is our head of events, and she's been here for 2.5, 3 months. We signed the contract for this users conference at the beginning of the year. And so I don't know what sort of delusional world we were living in, thinking that we would just be able to figure this out.
No.
But
I don't know if it was a we, just to clarify.
A David? Maybe a David.
What delusional world was David living in?
Okay, cool. Well, kind of royal we, I was thinking, but yeah, no, that's fine. That's chill. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm glad we did that. Anyway, back to my nice things that I was saying about the team. I'm very glad that we have now, and it's been amazing. I'm honestly kind of apprehensive. I'm waiting for the bad thing to happen because I feel every event always has something. But so far, it's been so smooth. You can see we don't have the best weather in Bermuda, but honestly, that's made it a little bit easier to be in the education sessions, right? It's just been so good. I feel from a content perspective.
Can I actually say one more thing?
That is the point of the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll allow it. Yeah.
So my dear friend for 10 years, who is one of the best designers I've ever worked with, he transitioned into product. We actually hired him to my team, and we hired him on Thursday of last week. And he decided to come on the user conference. He made it happen. David Tilley. A lot of folks have met him already, and he's everyone's best friend. I actually think the Tern team likes him more than me already, and also our users. I go up to users and Molly, that boy you hired to your team. He is so amazing. I've been stopped in the hall many times.
It's the energy. I'm feeling a little insecure. I think he's the other
the better
David. Now. Yeah, I'm okay. This is we'll see. But
he's the only repeat name on the Tern team,
yeah.
And it's David, which is also just hilarious.
Well, we're sort of just start circling back, right? Next one will be Brian, then Katie, or something like that. Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, we were literally interviewed on Thursday, and at the end of the interview, I was obviously so impressed, and so I was just curious, what's your schedule look like next week? Any chance you'd be able to attend a conference if this works out? And he's like, well, let me check, but I think I should be able to. And afterwards, like Molly, apparently, like you texted him and be like, okay, so like the users conference is a cruise to Bermuda, and he's like, wait, what? Like, I was expecting like we were gonna go to a convention hall in some like some city, but like we're going on a cruise, and it's like, welcome to the travel industry, bud. Like this is how we do it. So. Yeah. Okay, well we're sort of in it already. We do have some news. We got some things that we've shipped. We're gonna tease a little bit of kind of what you can expect on the September 17th webinar. But we didn't want this to be like yet another episode of just like you should register for the webinar. So we do have some updates that we're gonna talk about, some things that have shipped. But you will have to register and attend the webinar live to get the big updates. Yeah. But the first thing that we shipped this week, which is one of the biggest products I think that we've pulled off, is the first ever Tern Users Conference. Yep. We have almost 200 people on the ship. Like, it has been so incredible. So maybe just like highlights so far for both of you. Like, what were the kind of like best moments? And we started with you, Brad, to begin with. So Molly, maybe we kick off with you.
Oh man,
I know it's
a harder question because there's just so many moments. Brad, do you have anything off the top of your head?
Sure.
While I think.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that stuck with me the most so far is I led like a groups training session the first morning. It was 90 minutes long. I was like, oh gosh, just like teach everyone most things. We had another advanced session later, but like most things about groups in 90 minutes, how's that going to go? And it was a really cool opportunity to both like share my best practices for how I think about groups, but also get a lot of like real-time questions and feedback. And often what you'd hear from folks is like, actually, I don't know if this is feedback or a question because it might be possible. Like it's possible this thing already exists and I just don't know how to do it yet. So like, can you apply a template to the, like, can you use a template for the form for groups? So I don't have to like fill this out every time. It's like, I do this every day. Like, is there a solution? I'm like, well, no. But in real time, I can like hear that, ask a few follow-up questions. And then actually someone next to them heard it and like, wait, oh my gosh, that's like my thing too. And then around the room, everyone's like, can I vote for that? And we just got like in real time realizing like how painful some of these things are, that like it's kind of easier to, when you see a message come in that's like, oh, it'd be nice if ... like this thing existed. But in real time to get that and that consensus of just like, oh yeah, like this thing is actually really important to me, and be able to like dig in, get that feedback, and ideally react pretty fast has been really, really cool.
It's been really fun. Okay, I'm going to actually like build on that point, Molly. So you're not going to get the question that you so eloquently deferred to Brad.
But I have my answer now.
Okay, fine. But like, maybe also you can talk about like in this room, we're in the scene here in Virtual Voices. We've been doing
answer,
the
David.
product workshops. Well, okay, that's perfect. That's a tee up then.
Okay. So Brad's answer actually reminded me, of course, my favorite part of the conference so far. So we've done these product workshops, and they've been so much fun. We've done 3 of them so far. 2 folks actually attended all 3, so they should get some sort of award, I feel.
Well, I mean, Lauren and Alicia will give them a shout out. Like, I don't know if this is breaking the rules or not, but we had like, they like showed up to the first one. They were like, this is one of the coolest sessions I've ever been to.
Yeah.
And they were telling me at dinner last night, they're like, we went to both of them. And I was like, that's not a lot. Like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, you broke the rule. And then literally today they went to the third one.
I did actually blatantly encourage them to come to the third one. I was like, if you do that, then you're just like the champions of the conference. And then they did.
That was it. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
So anyways, what are these workshops? So it's kind of cool. We actually tried to replicate a little bit of how product development strategy works at Tern. So we talked about how when we get the leadership team together in person for annual planning, we'll put like big areas of the business across like on different poster boards and like write areas that we think matter to invest in on those different areas. And then we walk around and we basically add votes on where we think as individuals we should be spending the most time. And that sparks a really good discussion about like what should our strategy be, what matters most and why, like why did you place votes in certain areas. And we did the same thing with our users. And so advisors got to write down their favorite ideas for features and pain points they had and then walk around and vote. And then we split into smaller groups and we actually workshopped some of the bigger ideas and asked them questions like, have you thought about this? How should this work? And then we presented those ideas back as a group. And each one, I feel like I learned so much like about not just what matters, but how to even think about it and what they cared about. And it was really fun. And that's one of my answers. I have a second answer.
Okay, well, let me ask a question about the
Yeah.
first answer. Like, because I was not able to do this. I was always like in other sessions and things. Like, how did you see the dynamic where like users were actually starting to appreciate the other perspective? Because I think that's something that we see and we talk a lot about on this show is like, we are getting feedback from all these different points and we sort of need to like prioritize, but it's not that common, I feel like, for an agency owner or for an advisor to actually hear the other pain points and to have to sort of make those judgment calls and like have that discussion. Like, what was that like?
It was so cool. And I think a specific example to bring it to life would be really, really awesome. So one of the biggest areas of feedback we got in one of the sessions was the fact that when you make changes to the group itinerary, it doesn't sync those changes to the individual sub-trips of that group. And I was leading that session to unpack that and started asking questions like, what if you have existing activities on sub-trips? What if you have booking and pricing data for some of those things and you change something up here and it pushes down there? And actually real time, some folks started being like, well, what if we just start with being able to add something new and quick add it to every sub-trip? Because that's what comes up to, for me, 80% of the time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's our week 1 MVP right there, because there's no complication. So we were able to almost like, not that updating existing doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter quite as much and it's way harder. So we were like almost PMing it together, and
That's
it was
so
really
cool.
fun. It wasn't even my idea. It was like
Actually crowdsourcing.
Yeah,
this, right?
Brianne is like also
The shout
just
out.
amazing. So
Okay,
I actually offered her a job after she suggested that. But
cool. Okay, like we're gonna come back to your second highlight, but Brad, you were also like leading all of these. Like any cool stories from those product planning sessions that jump out to you?
I think the maybe just one of my reflections on the sessions is the way we do this, there's probably like couple hundred ideas that come out in each session where people are putting sticky notes out like, oh, this thing matters to me, this thing matters to me. And we could have like a hour-long discussion about each of those items and go down a rabbit hole. And like maybe if we just like start at the beginning of the list, we'd miss the ones that are actually most important to the whole group and have the biggest pain. So it is a cool example of like, I think how we work generally is like, we don't just like chase after every single idea that comes up. We try to look for like, what are those themes? What are those like, common areas that are coming up most often? And then like use our limited time we have to dig into those first to make sure we like resolve those biggest pain points, can like have that full discussion, understand a path forward, and then we can always come back to the other ones later. Like we still have all these ideas, but we're able to like kind of focus our energy in the sessions, which we do all the time. We say no, well not no, but not now to so many things all the time in product. And like, I think advisors got to see that in real time. Like, oh, this thing matters, but I can see that actually the attention's over here, and like maybe they'll come back to that later.
Yeah. I think it's like so cool. I'm like definitely had FOMO being out of those sessions. I was actually so excited. I was like, okay, like I can go. I've got a break, and they're like, oh no, it doesn't start till 11:45. I was like, that's when my next session is. Mm-hmm. But the sessions have been so cool, and just like being able to see like both the Tern team like teaching in real time, being able to like sit there, having TAs float around, and like. I think that's just been so special. Evan on our team pulled me aside in one of the sessions. I sort of was lurking in the back, and he was like, I think what's cool is that we could have done this exact same training on Zoom, and people would have been distracted, right? Like they would have multitasking and other things. You walk around this room right now, and everybody is following along and actually like doing it together. They're getting help when they need it. They're not getting lost. They're not getting as frustrated. Like I thought that was really special. And then I think today's like kind of opening session around AI was really cool, like taking a little bit of a step back and watching Jack, our head of data and AI, actually start to break down like, okay, you're hearing a lot about AI. Like, what is this actually? Like, what is new? What's not new? What's actually evolved in like a way that was like funny and accessible? And then having Gal come in, who's actually like behind camera right now on the ground in this like really trendy, cool mint suit, like with his audio headphones on, making this possible. So thank you for running from 16 sessions to make this happen.
It's a real shame we're not editing this.
I think we need to. Yeah, let's like do this. We have the video team that's back there saying we've got the video, so maybe we'll parse that in. And this is quite the production compared to our little Zooms that we do.
I know.
And yet at the same time, it's like us in an empty room with like it's like a very interesting dynamic that's going on right now. Just like a
All
real
right,
time.
we're
staying back on track. But anyway, like it was just so fun, like watching the kind of those presentations, and it's been really special. So we'll conclude this.
Yeah.
We're hopefully generating some FOMO. Stay tuned for some announcements. Maybe on September 17th. If you're like, wow, I really wish I was there this year. Maybe we'll have some news for you about next year. But Molly, what was the round us out here?
My actual answer, so I love the feedback sessions, but my actual answer about what my favorite thing has been is just like the individual conversations I'm having with advisors, and like first getting to express my gratitude to them, because the amount of people who are here who have been like personally responsible for Tern's success is actually wild. It's like getting to hug Chloe and be like, we could not be here without you. Getting to hug Scott. Like, I'm not going to keep listing people because there's like but like being able to look them in the eye in person and just like tell them how much they mean to me has been like just so special. And then hearing stories in return about like what Tern has done for them and how much they appreciate the Tern team. I just like I said, I've been like verging on tears all week in like a very good way. And it's just so energizing and fun. And yeah, connecting individually has been the best part.
At the happy hour, people found out that the opening happy hour, they found out that like the user ID like roughly correlates to like how early they were joining. So we had like people that were like competing for like how early was I, and but yeah, I mean it was fun like having so many people here who are like, whether you were the first user to sign up or you're one that just joined, but like they've contributed to this community in a way that's really special. And I think just hearing those stories, the number of people that have come up and said like this team, this community, this like product, it is so much more than us. And I think like when we're in our Zoom meetings and those types of things, it's like really special. And honestly, it's all of you that are watching this that aren't with us. Like you are a part of that community, and it's something that's so special. So
yeah.
You gonna add anything, Brad?
No, I think I want to make sure we give some people some features that we're excited.
Okay, so we're done with
three big ones.
We've got some big ones. So we have been shipping stuff. We're going to announce a bunch of things on the 17th, but let's talk about the some mobile updates. And Molly, you're kicking off with that.
Yeah. So last week, so it's actually live in the App Store as of last week. We did our last, I would say, major for a while overhaul. On the Traveler mobile app. So now when your travelers have the latest app version, they can actually go in, they can make selections, so they can choose their rooms, they can choose option blocks, they can authorize payments, they can see pricing within the app itself instead of getting redirected to a weird kind of web page that, anyways. So they can see all of those things within the app instead of having to kind of direct them to say, hey, the Traveler app right now is just for when you're on the go, on your trip, and for everything else use web. You can just say the app is for everything. So we're going to demo it live at the webinar and really kind of share more info and details, but that is live as we speak. So really exciting.
So cool. And yeah, I mean, plus, like we'll actually take you through a full end-to-end demo if you're having a hard time visualizing this, but that ability to just be like, yep, I'm going to select this room, or like make all those selections, not be like pulled out to another web app where you then have to relog. I mean, it's like so much more complete feeling.
I think especially making payments. Like the payments part is probably one of the most important pieces. Like as your trip's coming up, you want to make sure you don't miss that final payment right there in the app. You don't have to go like find some link your advisor sent you. Just like open up Tern, boom, authorized, done. Like you just made sure you got it all done.
It's ready to go.
And what's so cool too is I think like even with all of the improvements we've made to make it easier and easier to access Tern and verify your identity, so we did Magic Link, they can use a code if they want to, there still's friction, right? Like you still have to wait for an email, you have to click a link from email. And now that the app supports every important action, just have them download the app. They access it once and then they're done, right? Yeah. Like they don't have to re-authenticate when they're on a new device, like it's just so much easier to always just have the app and kind of stay logged in for longer and that sort of thing.
I do feel like with this update, like we've gotten to that point where we can really encourage everyone. It's like this app is not just for when you're traveling. Yeah. Like this is the app that your travelers should be using to engage with your services, to make those decisions, to access past trips, upcoming trips. Like all of that data is at the palm of your hand, and it's a amazing experience. I mean, the kind of way that it feels. I mean, it feels like a consumer travel app, but it's for you as an advisor to provide your clients, which we think is pretty special. So not only do we have some updates on mobile, and again, like full demo coming at the webinar. If you haven't registered for that already, definitely do that. But Brad, we also released some updates that agency owners were pretty excited about.
Yeah. This is really big and like huge for agency owners.
Yeah.
We saw how much work agency owners were putting in to make sure that their advisors had the right terms and conditions and cancellation policies for any of their suppliers that they use often. And they're going through like so many hoops to basically fill out like a Google Docs or somewhere that advisors can like copy and paste them over. Sometimes they're even like, can I log in for them and like fill it out for them and copy it? So we heard you. And just as of a couple days ago, I've lost track of all time.
I was like, is he going to say the
Yesterday
day?
morning at 6:30
Wow.
a.m.
Okay. Yesterday morning, 6:30 a.m. You can now, on a supplier profile within your agency, if you're going to the library, agency suppliers, open up a supplier profile. You can now see terms and conditions and cancellation policies there. You can add them for your team. So when they use that supplier, those will be available for them. If they only have one, it'll just automatically pre-fill for them. Or if you have multiple for the same supplier, you can put them in there and they can quickly select from those when they go to add a booking with that supplier. So going to make credit card authorization even easier than it already is, with that just being ready for them.
And that's like a new modality, right? The ability to have like multiple to choose from, like, is a whole new concept. Like, that didn't exist before. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was so important when we talked to agency owners, because they don't want to have, let's take Disney for example. Walt Disney Co., they want to have like a single or maybe two or three for Disney, but if you think about refund policies and cancellation policies, we heard every single ticket year, there's like a different policy that you want to have for Disney, and you don't want to have like 20 of those different agency suppliers, right? And that makes reporting weird and stuff. So just being able to say, this is the, Disney tickets 2025. This is, being able to configure those things and then agents can easily select between them is huge.
So cool. Those lawyers are making their money, though, with all those terms and conditions on
I
those
know.
tickets. I mean,
Right?
it's profitable business. But that's like so exciting, right? And being able to have that in one place, make it like lower the risk and make that credit card authorization so much easier. Like, that's such a huge win. Anything else that we want to share on that front?
I think we're good.
Perfect. Maybe a little tease for the webinar, like payments generally.
Oh, is that what
topic.
you're wanting to like lead into the
I
whole
mean,
thing?
like, I don't
All right.
know. We'll just
More payments and authorization updates coming. Is it the 17th?
You
Is that
have
what
your
we're-
agenda in front of you. We're teasing the webinar after we finish with new features, David.
Okay.
All right.
Next on the agenda, Molly, is we are talking about forms. And
We are
emails.
talking about forms. This was a really fun update so I did a 90-minute new feature training on yesterday, and then I did a 60-minute today, and I closed with forms, all the updates we made to forms, and watching this one like click with people as they saw it more real time, it was really fun. So I'm excited to talk about it. So basically today, you can actually, this live as of last week, whenever you send an email or you set up an email template or you set up an automation on a workflow or just a one-off automation, you will see an option in the top right to insert a form. And when you do that, you'll see the form as like a nice little, like almost like it looks like an attachment, but it's above the signature. And you can direct your travelers to fill out that form that you've inserted. So first, it's just a nice efficiency thing, right? Before you had to go to the library, you had to find the right form, you had to grab the URL to fill out the form, you had to go back to your email template, you had to hyperlink it in the email template. So right now, when you insert a form, it just pulls up the modal and you can insert the form right from there. But then the kind of magical thing that this does is if you send out a form like this from an email on the trip, so let's imagine you go to publish the trip and you're like, hey, here's your latest itinerary. I have a form for you to fill out your contact information. So you send that out from the trip. Anyone who fills out that form that you've sent them from the trip, those responses will be automatically added to the Forms tab of the trip. So you don't
Let's say
have
that
to...
one more time.
They
The
will be-
form tab on the trip.
The Forms
that's
tab on the trip.
So cool.
So it'll be automatically added there. You don't have to go and manually tag the form response to the trip. And then taking it kind of to the next level, you can also set up a workflow to automatically apply automations that have a form that's inserted this way. And again, as long as it gets applied to the trip and goes out because it's applied to the trip, it will do the same thing. So you can have a workflow. Anytime a new trip is created, you send an automation that's like, yay, thanks for submitting this trip. Go fill out this contact information form.
Wait. So what you're saying is that you could also take this one step further with something like a workflow, where if you are automatically applying a workflow to a trip that sends out an email, say it's like you're getting closer to the trip, you want to confirm all the booking details, you want to confirm all the traveler details before you officially finalize the bookings or something, you could set up an automation with an email that's like, hey traveler, make sure you go fill out this information, passport details, all that stuff. When the travelers fill that out, you'll of course get your normal trip filled out confirmation email, but it will automatically show up on that trip. So if you're like going back on that trip, you're making those bookings, you click right into that form from that trip, all of their most recent information they just filled out is all right there. Is that right?
Nailed it.
All
Absolutely
right.
nailed it.
So cool. And I mean, this is something people have been asking about for so long, right? The ability to like find forms in more contextually relevant places. And we launched a couple of weeks ago now the ability to like see all the forms under the contact tab. And now sort of the interesting kind of problem or question is like, how do you know what form is about what trip? And for the trip request form, we've had, because like we know this form created this trip, but now being able to extend that to say like, hey, if this was related to an automation that was associated with the trip, we can be pretty confident that form is related to the trip, right? There's like, if you sent it from the trip itself, we can be pretty confident it's related to that trip. And so, there's all these different ways that we can now kind of intelligently keep those organized for you, but also this like new way to share it where like you can just right from an email, add that sort of form attachment. There's like kind of this cool UI associated with it. And again, you'll find that when you're sending a one-off email, you'll see that on automations. Like it's a pretty massive upgrade to the way that forms are sent out.
Yeah, and it was so funny because when I was training on it, I like told them how it worked, and then there were a few questions, and then kind of repeating it again and again, and you started to see a click of like, oh, and so I think it's a really fun one, and I was saying actually on the training today that I do a lot of new user office hours, and before we made these updates, I kid you not, every single one, it was like how we handled form responses and how hidden and hard they were to get to was like every single time a point of confusion and like contributing to that feeling of like Tern feeling hard to navigate and hard to find the information you need. So
because
really,
like literally
really
it was like library, find the form, go to the responses tab, find the response, and now it's just like there. I
mean, the amount of clicks we've killed with this is just
infinite clicks.
So like
RIP clicks.
Yeah.
Like it's
RIP.
RIP. Okay, so we are just as loopy as ever, as you can tell. But let's move on to like what's ahead, right? And so we've got a big keynote coming up on Sunday, the closing keynote. Molly, you want to talk a little bit about sort of how we're thinking about that?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about the future. I think we're going to be zooming out to what, like 10 years from now, 5 years from now? What we think
2030.
2030 is only 5 years from now. Oh no.
Okay, let's not rabbit hole in that. Let's not rabbit hole. No, so we're going to be sharing a lot of like our product vision and strategy for how the travel industry will change and how Tern is going to be kind of leading the charge and empowering advisors through a lot of that change. And I could not be more excited to talk about that. We also have a lot of just kind of cool surprises in store is maybe what I'll leave it at, that I'm like giddy. I'm like actually giddy thinking about.
We sort of set out for the conference. We said this in the podcast before to like make this the most valuable conference that people have ever attended. And we've got some creative things on Sunday that we will sort of be sharing that will kind of bring that to life.
Just pause. We should pause. We're not getting through that. Molly can't just disappear off camera.
Molly's just like, I'm out. Do you need tea? There's some hot water and tea over there.
No. She's got a cough drop.
Put some. Is there honey in there? That's good, yeah. I don't know if she likes mint, but it'll be good for her throat. We need to get through this. No, it's okay. I'm excited to edit this. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna put in like beep technical difficulties.
Maybe while I'm down, wait.
Yeah. No, it's fine. We'll just be like
Also, what time are our dinner reservations?
like 5:45.
Okay.
Stop.
We've got 45 minutes to get through this. Take your time.
I wasn't even talking, so I'm done coughing.
It just got dark in
I
here.
think I'm done talking, so
Yeah, should we not throw it back to you anymore?
Yeah.
No, we're not going to.
keep going.
Okay. Okay, let's try that again. So one of the things we said, like kind of quickly, was like we want this to be the most valuable conference that people attend. So we got some fun things in store on Sunday that we'll sort of deliver on that for the conference attendees, but it's also going to benefit everybody who's not on the conference. And so we'll just leave it at that. We're not going to spoil too many things, but we will. I have, I think, a pretty exciting flight path a week from today, because we'll have the webinar on the 17th where we'll take the wraps off these big features. Everyone else will get kind of access to those, and you'll see a lot of other, I think, fun surprises that we'll have in store for you. But before we get to that, let's close on the webinar. We're going to give you a little bit, since you're a Flight Path listener, we want to give you a little bit of a kind of behind the scenes on what to expect. We talked about some of this, but Brad, do you want to talk us through some of we talked about mobile. What are some of the other 3 things that people can kind of expect us to talk about thematically?
Yeah, so I'll say the 3 things that I want to make sure we cover. Like we mentioned, there's some big updates and improvements coming around kind of payments and authorizations, which I think we even mentioned on the podcast. We're taking a look at this for a while.
That's true,
so one of the squads has spent a bunch of time here, and we're finally ready to get that out the door, which is really exciting. We've got the just generally traveler experience. We'll talk more about mobile, like Molly was talking about, and some updates there. And then the third area is trying to better understand your business, to maybe better understand the data related to your business in turn. And we won't say specifically what those features are, but you might be able to kind of learn about that. And there's a little one bigger surprise that we're probably going to be completely, we won't talk about it all until then. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
It's in the same
Okay.
bucket of understanding. It's in the same bucket of understanding your business in turn, kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know. Put in the comments what you think we might be talking about. It's going to be great. We are aiming for this to be our biggest webinar ever. And so if you haven't already, please register. And if you haven't already, we'd love it if you share it out. It's going to be genuinely, I think, a new era of Tern. That's sort of how I introduced it when we opened the keynote here on the ship. And I think that we delivered. Nobody came up to me and said that I was being hyperbolic after we showed them what we showed them. So
That's true. No, not a single person.
not a single person was
I think it's a new era after every webinar, but this one's really a new era.
this one, Tern will feel palpably different every single
Accurate.
time that you log in. So with that, let's move on to the closing, where I ask you to like and subscribe and leave a comment. I think we covered that. This was the first ever Flight Path Live-ish with microphones. And so let us know what you thought about that. We probably won't be able to do much if you really liked it, because we don't live in the same city, so we can't do it every week. But anyway, with that, we are wrapping up. And we'll see you next week,
Maybe you convince me to
everyone.
move to Detroit. Then we
That's
will be in
true.
the same city.
Then we could
and
all do
just
it.
do it live.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want Brad to move to Detroit, put it in the comments. And otherwise, we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
all.